Hey, that's oh, yep, it is now 7, so I think we'll get started. And the main question Dasher was asking is what to do if you want to play more patiently. And like layer 1, the answer is literally just do nothing. Um choose any option that gets you marginal victories that literally puts yourself at basically no risk. Um, and you'll see this especially in slower games where they'll kind of just stop. They'll just look at you and wait for you to do something. That's terrifying to deal with as a band, like versus a band. Um, especially at any distance that's like outranges most of their normals. You can kind of just walk forward menacingly at them and just have them go, crap, what am I supposed to do? Because Band has some really good reactive tools. If they try and go forward, you have parries, you have your DP, which covers a whole lot of space, and you have some relatively large buttons. And so that's always a threat. And so the second you start seeing how they like to approach, you've become a more patient reactive player, and then you have one or two, or well, 2 to 3 options. You go, okay, well, this beats that, this beats that, this beats that. And then the second they approach, you figure out what approach they're doing, or you try and make a guess based on their habits, and you react to their approach. Obviously, this then goes into the cycle of they can start trying to bait out reactions and then punishing you after. But in general, like layer 1, playing more patiently is straight up just telling yourself, I don't need to do anything right now to win the game. And this is especially true in SG, where some people run forward when they have the life lead, and there's literally zero reason to put yourself at that much risk. You can hold your ground, just stare at them. If you want to fight for space a little bit more, you can walk forward a little bit, or you can try and dash block. That can get you closer to some dangerous ranges. Spaced Embrace is incredibly hard for the majority of the cast to punish. Stuff like that, where it's like... And if you see them backing up, you've done your job. Dash block forward, e-break, even just slow walk forward. You've gotten your space. You've gotten an advantage by doing literally nothing and just being intimidating. So the way to try and go about this in games is go into the game with the mindset of, let me try and recognize scenarios where I don't need to do anything. For example, for me, and this is a Paracel example, but I kind of want to do the same thing. For a while, I would just do like up, forward, jump, light punch, jump, heavy punch, and they would push block me out. I would dash block, or I would dash jump and do it again, and I'd do it like 2 or 3 times, and then all of a sudden I'd eat a reverse because it's not necessarily a safe approach. But I just wanted to keep going in and keeping up the pressure. The second I learned, if they block the first one, on the second or third one, I can literally dash jump empty hop. I'm doing nothing, but I'm still really intimidating. And so I've learned if I calm down here, I can bait out a reversal, and then all of a sudden I blocked their match and I get a punish. And so it's going into recognizing situations where you're overextending, and then keeping that in the back of your mind and trying to actively think when you get to those situations, I need to stop, hold the brakes. It's hard, especially if your autopilot is going aggressive. But the more you start trying to focus on that, and it helps if it's like one of 2 or 3 things you're focusing on for those matches, all of a sudden it becomes your autopilot to recognize, I'm going too hard here, I need to calm down. Or you can, the next layer is start abusing it. It's like, I've shown I'm willing to go crazy here. I think they're going to match this time. I'll use it to bait. And so it at the end of the day ends up being, can you control your autopilot and think about the choices you're acting? Which is one of the really harder things to work on in fighting games, but it's an important thing to learn how to deal with, because it's important for learning any part of fighting games. That, like, whole speech being said, let's get in. Elbrass. Not a bad idea. Unfortunately, kind of just... Now we have to hold all this. Kui's pretty good at advantage, so this is rough. Oh no, that's like the one thing you couldn't burst on. But still no punish. Yeah. Being afraid of the head is normal. If you want a little bit more of an aggressive option, you can do 2LP or 2LK, and it will hit the head. You just need to be aware that if the head is pressed early enough, oftentimes you'll trade. And then you need to know when to stop, because the second the headless sees you're hitting the head, they won't return at you. But standing here, being patient isn't necessarily the worst thing. It's a little scary. I would probably opt to try and be in the air here instead, just because you have some really good falling buttons and symbols. It's phenomenal space control. It gets a little sketchy because you will lose to sneeze, but overall, you opted to try and get yourself out of a situation. You chose an option that worked. It was a very high-risk option. But being willing to do it isn't necessarily all that bad. Finish this. So I'm not gonna like yell at you to get a heavy counter hit route. I want you to start thinking about the things you know are incredibly minus on bulk. So Gregor being one of them, for your character, SSJ is a free combo afterwards. That's like, people lab very specific SSJ counter hits because of just how punishable it is. Throwing is basically the worst thing you can do here. It gives you 50 undizzy, extra undizzy to work with, so it acts like a medium counter hit. The major issue with doing a throw as a counter hit is it still sets your scaling to 50. So it is one of the worst things to actually counter hit with. If you, say, instead did 2 medium punch, which is like the standard big band counter hit option, they don't tend to like heavy counter hits for whatever reason. You just get a couple extra hits, and then eventually you can learn like a full medium counter hit combo if you want to. But throw counter hit, this ain't it. You're better than that. I would still take... Okay, also, for this decision, if you want to snap in a character, I would encourage you to try and get some more damage on this character. You might be able to kill because you're solo banned here. Depends on exactly how much you want to spend. But if you don't, I would still want you to combo a little bit, spend a little bit of undizzy to get a lot of corner carry, and then snap in closer to the corner. I'm assuming you also accidentally snapped in the wrong character, but... Space Press. Good neutral. Yep, okay. Here's where your neutral is becoming almost entirely brasses. And this becomes an issue, for I think reasons we've already talked about. So if you're asking about trying to be a little bit more patient, you see she's in the air, you can jump to follow her, she's retreating. So like if you, instead of opting for this, just jump here, if she double jumps at you, you can block it, push block her. Be wary of the air throw, that's like the one thing that'll actually open you up as long as you're blocking. If she doesn't double jump, you can double jump after her and land on her with a jump light kick. You've just got like half a screen of space for walking at her and doing nothing. Instead, you committed to a pretty big commitment in a neutral, and now you're getting hit for it. Oh, yep. Gotta know. Yeah, just for the record, if you see them full and dizzy after Silver Cord, do not press. They have a couple burst baits off of this. Yeah. And so we're in a similar situation, except this time it's squiggly instead of fortune, and you are mashing to get out. And so while I said last time I'm not super upset about it, if this is your consistent option to get out of it, that's where it becomes an issue. So if you want to think about the patient things to be doing here, you can up forward. I see you might have wanted to catch the jump light kick. It recovers a little too quickly for that. But yeah, patient options to be doing here. You can up forward and block. A good amount of the time, you'll end up getting over the hairball in the first place. If they're falling with a button and you block it, you can push block them away. That will keep you in the air above hairball, and then it will also fight a little bit of space out of the corner, which then you can double jump after and press jump light kick because it spans God button. You can symbols if they keep going further away, or you can just land and walk at them again. Just think about the options you have that don't immediately require you to press a button. Like, use movement to buy time so you can react to what's actually going on, is probably the best way to explain how patient play kind of works in this game. On that note, though, Kui, stop. Why are we doing light counter hits? You've played Squiggly for years. Squiggly's in her face, and it's scary. No. Yep. Neutral is almost entirely specials. Okay. Alright. Talked a lot before and during the first game, so I think I'll try and pause a little bit less. Also, to answer your questions, Stunna, this is other people's VoDs. So if you want VoD review, I host the sign up through the GetCrate server. Okay. Getting mixed, good block. Yep. Headless stuff. Company. What's the mix? Oh. E. I don't think we wanted that, but we wanted A-Train, which is still a very bad button. It's different. The sign up for this is in the channel you're getting pinged for this stuff. It should be pinned. Yeah, that game, we lost neutral a couple times and then Kui Stock did Kui Stock things. It's they're very good on hit and on block. So if you give them an advantage in neutral, they're very good at taking it home. Got it? Just late kick. Was that a... I think that was a blue bounce. Wait. Yep. Okay. So you can actually tech here. This kind of involves you keeping track of OTG, which I don't know if you know exactly what to look out for. Just for the record, if you see this purple bounce, I paused it a little late. This, and then it like fades away into purple particles. Their OTG has been consumed, and so sliding knockdowns can be teched. The one caveat is burst baits. Some people can burst bait off of sliding knockdowns. Keep an eye out for that. If you tech late while you're still sliding, it shouldn't be a burst. There's a couple of exceptions, but usually they need OTG to do it. Unless I'm like completely misremembering, but I don't think I am. Yeah, so this is a sliding knockdown, but they don't actually have OTG, so you can just tech out of this. It's a lot to keep track of, so if you're not noticing those things just yet, it's more than fine. So again, brass and neutral. So like, this matchup's a little scuffed to be talking about patience on because having the head behind you is always going to be terrifying. But for the record, like the patient options you have, I'm pretty sure 2 medium punch hits behind you, so you can hit the head like that. Again, just up forward and then get ready to react to what's coming. Always a pretty strong option with Band because symbols, jump light kick, he has a double jump to course correct if people are meeting him really quickly. All that sort of stuff. It's a really good thing to do. Obviously, don't get too happy with jumping because all of a sudden you start playing against like Celebella or A-Train and just immediately lose the game. There are other options, but up forward with Band is a very good part, or very good tool to have in your toolkit. Just learn to do some other things that don't as well. Yeah. Caught by a delayed nom. You hit the assist, so it's not actually a burst bait. So yeah, here you have no reason to be as afraid as you are. One thing you actually can try and do is Giant Step here. Giant Step full screen is usually very low risk. There are exceptions. You will learn them as you play and you see what can and cannot punish it. Giant Step will catch a lot of people trying to do weird setups full screen because they don't. They're like, I'm not at threat of anything, and then you Giant Step, you get in closer, you get a lot of space. That's very good for Band. Yeah, there's no head on you, there's nothing. Try and get yourself out of this corner. And it doesn't need to be a brass, you can just dash forward, you can e-brake forward, there's a couple options. Oh no. That works. In this situation, I would try and have your immediate reaction be Timpani, or not Timpani, sorry, Beat Extend. Brain fart moment. You get a combo afterwards, but doing something with your parry is a very, very good thing. I like that you recognize that you got a parry and then immediately did an option to capitalize off of it. Oh yeah. Another random movement option you have is actually jump heavy kick because you get to tech afterwards. JP likes to use it a lot. Again, there are obviously times where it won't work. Unfortunately, the assist somehow didn't get tagged and just caught you a little bit. But you can jump heavy kick, land, and use the tech recovery as movement as well. And it's a relatively safe option when you're really far away from them. Level 3. Level 1, level 1, level 3. Yeah. And that's that set. Right, solo mirrors. Yep. Timpani is not something you'd really do at round start. Yep, chairless Bayo sweep is going to be kind of an issue if you're really used to brassing. Mistimes the throw. Oh no. Unfortunate. Yeah. You do like to up back a lot. I think you could change them to up forwards, because like, while full screen is pretty alright for bands, you don't actually get anything, and if you were getting full screen at the cost of losing space, you can just run yourself into the corner. Which is an issue in its own right. Just get through this. Oh! So, one of the best things to be doing versus Beowulf, who are playing more like this, jump heavy punch, this is chair off, but with the chair on too. If you can start recognizing and doing this intentionally, this is called a chicken block. So what you just did was you up-backed. Sometimes you get stuck in pre-block if you're up-backing, but if you neutral jump, you won't get stuck in pre-block, and then you hold back. You block it, it stops your momentum, it sends you to the ground. You land cancel the block stun. You are now incredibly, incredibly plus. And that is the power of chicken block land canceling. Yeah, up forward block is quite a good tool. And I mean, you also don't need to be blocking. You can do up forward jump light kick, but like the safest variant of up forward is just up forward block. But yeah, you're banned. You want to be taking away space. You want to be threatening. Because, well, full screen is technically better for banned in a lot of matchups. Like, Parasol can't actually get shots off. You're not threatening a full combo. And if you're running away to get that space, you're ceding a lot of space. So, yeah. Yeah, so... Very brief introduction to chicken block land canceling. It's a very important thing to look out for in SG. So it's not anything you need to master immediately, just a little seed to plant in the back of your mind. Ground start throws a little ambitious. Brass and neutral. What was I looking for? Meaty mid isn't really that strong in this game. Definitely try and think about doing low throw on wake up. Obviously, meaty options will still lose to bashes, so unless you did a meaty throw here, I mean, it doesn't need to be meaty because the startup is slow, but you get the idea. Throw here would have won. If you did arm, neither would win, but you forced a mash. So it's like, if you're going to try and do a meaty option, almost every character has a really fast low. Set it up. Highly, highly, highly recommend that compared to this. Unless that was a misinput. Nope, okay. Bonk. I'm pretty sure you can do M-Brass here and always win. I don't know about H-Brass, it might be a little too slow, but M-Brass should win no matter what they try and do if they don't immediately go down back Airwolf. And if they do down back, they are -2, so it'll still your turn to press jab or a light kick. The second you block the first Blitzer, it's basically your turn to go. There are some awkward shenanigans if they're trying to cross you up, but beat extend usually covers those. You just need to be a little careful about getting your inputs crossed, because they're trying to cross you up. But yeah, that's That's kind of the funny blitzer. It's not actually all that safe pressure without assist behind it. Bonk. Yeah, good punish. It's unsafe. Unfortunate drop. Yeah, brass on block. Unless you're doing L, you're basically saying kill me. That's a punish. That's like minus... I don't even know what. So for the record, the way the Beowulf blitzers end up working is that the first one obviously isn't really, like, if they're in the air and going to the ground, that one I think is minus. 2 from the ground or the air, if they do down back, is minus. If they run away, some characters can punish it. 3, if they... 3, any option that sticks close to you is an incredibly unsafe unblock. EX Blitzer will always have the frame data of the second, by the way, I'm pretty sure. Oh. So, like here, you can afford to be really patient. They whiff their crap, you can just walk up and get a full combo hit here. I think you might have even been able to just do level 3 here, and I think you're close enough to pick up OTG afterwards and get a combo as well, because you get that on the corner. Oh, don't punish block that. Jumps into that, unfortunate. SSJ. Yeah, we gotta get a little bit more patient round starts. These are all very aggressive. Punish. That's fair. Yeah, if you were convinced he was gonna do chair, it's not that bad though. Although you can also chicken block chair and get a punish afterwards, for the record. Again, I know that's not something you're comfy with or necessarily used to thinking about, but again, just so you know it's out there, not necessarily that you need to do it. You chicken blocked again, and then yep, and so like here, this is something you can A-train or brass and probably catch them, and especially with the life totals as they are now, SSJ afterwards kills. Oh no! Raw SSJ I'm pretty sure connects, but like the ideal thing is brass SSJ, but yeah, that was a dead character. Just ship him out. That works too. If you're gonna go for that, I would recommend doing brass SSJ. Gives them less time to react to the SSJ, because sometimes people can super or like jump over it. Brass usually forces them to block something with less warning. Yeah, we're doing a lot of work to move forward a very small amount. You can let the E-brakes rock for longer as well. If you're confident they won't approach. But like if you're gonna E-break that short of a distance, you might as well honestly just dash block. Playing Street Fighter. Unfortunate. Yeah, fighting back in orange file is painful. Got the combo, drops, SSJ. Unfortunate. Committing to A-Train, not getting punished for it. So if you wanna talk about playing patient, this right here. Like, obviously you can try and also get a little bit closer, but especially if you had the life lead here, it's a little bit different because they're the life leader and they have an assist they're getting health back on, so you kind of do want to still be like putting them under a little bit of pressure, but this is an example of being perfectly fine playing patient. You can walk a little bit more forward, put them in range of your largest buttons, or just out of range of your largest buttons and say, if you move, I will press this, and make you regret doing anything. Because look at how before you commit to the brass, look at how awkward they are. They're like, what's going on? What do I do? Obviously, they're winning the patient game. Like if you both just stick here for the rest of the game, they're winning. So it's not again the greatest example, but just try and keep this image in your mind of they can't do much right now, and I can react to just about everything they can do at this range. So I don't need to actually do much. Obviously throwing in a cheeky like a spaced brass or something in there, just adding in preemptive options onto a majority passive playstyle is a really strong way to play the game. It's how I play, honestly, for the most part. And it just keeps them on their toes of never actually knowing what's happening. And obviously certain characters are better at certain playstyles than others. Luckily, Big Band is actually a really good patient character. He's really good reactive defensive tools. Punish that. Oh no. That's a bit awkward. Yeah, okay. So I think every time I've seen you fight your way out of your corner, for the most part, has been brass or SSJ. Again, they are a option. They should be a option you recognize as an incredibly risky option and not your go-to. So like here, you can fully well expect them to fall on you with a button. You can try and chicken block it. You can just block it on the ground, because chicken blocking will lose to air throws. And you don't even necessarily need to chicken block. When I talk about chicken block here, I just mean just go into the air so you don't get mixed. But you can get air thrown for that. Block it on the ground, push block them out. Because you doing nothing and then push blocking them away, especially if they don't have an assist layered behind it, means you're buying yourself space. And then you can start moving forward, fight for space more. Yeah. You can... Yeah, there's... I'm listing a couple of like selections for options you have. There's a ton that Band has in his kit, and I'd encourage you to just explore the options that are almost entirely movement related or revolve heavily around your light buttons, because those are the ones that will keep you the safest at all times. And if you're really curious what that sort of stuff looks like, I'd encourage you to watch some of the higher level bands. Probably more like specifically Cat Eye, or I'm trying to think of who else I'd think of as a really patient band. Because if you watch a couple players like JC or Graham, they tend to be a lot more aggressive with the resources because they have safe DHCs behind them. So they're not always the best ones to be thinking about emulating. But yeah, Cat Pie is a good one, although anything, or it's going to be kind of rare to find stuff with him on it because he doesn't play in online tournaments that much, etc. So yeah, it's Band has a lot of tools in his kit, and I'm only giving you a small selection of them. Is what I'm taking a really long-winded way of saying. I don't know if Shaky's a aggressive band or not. I actually do not watch Shaky play all that often. Yeah, Orange Vial, Pain, good block and push block. But we went for SSJ. It's understandable because you're Orange Vialed. But yeah, there's a time and a place for managing. And that is most definitely not all the time. It's perfectly normal to panic with Orange Vial. It's silly. I will not lie. My go-to plan for dealing with Val is Orange Vial is also just mash on them. I am not holding this. You need to reset me in the air. That is some garbage. That is crazy. But yeah, I did a lot of pausing and stopping, so there's... I think I already kind of beat to death the points I wanted to make. The briefest TLDR for playing Patient is think about your least commitment options. Movement, just doing movement and being menacing, perfectly fine. Band's light buttons are also really good. Band jump light kick, phenomenal. Band's jab, phenomenal, especially against air dash characters. It covers that space so well. His light kick, it's a reasonable low. You can low throw people for days, and then having multi-hit lights also kind of lets you do random stagger pressure, mix up your block strings a little bit. Yeah, Band's got really good tools, and he doesn't always need to commit to what you think of like his iconic things, which end up being a lot more unsafe as options. At the end of the day, that's it.